All right, another reading one, test 3. Now, what do we see? We see matching headings immediately. Flying tortoises. I hope you know what a tortoise is. And what else have we got? This is great. So now the big question is, do you do matching headings first or do you do these first? Of course, it's up to you. Do what you feel is better, but I think it's better to do these first. Why? Because very often the information that IELTS is talking about in here, in these questions, will give you some clues as to what IELTS thinks is important in that paragraph. So this will help you. I don't know where this is from, maybe one paragraph, 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, whatever, but it will help you to see what is important in that paragraph and help you with the matching headings for those paragraphs. Right, so let's start with this. Also, I see there's some nice things to scan for so we can find where it comes from pretty quickly. Of course, highlight that always. It's going to be important information. Decline, Galapagos tortoise. Decline means go down. You don't really need to scan for this because we just want to go straight there. Let's find 17th century. And you can see it quite quickly over there. Next, we find 1790s. And that's over there. So immediately I'm feeling pretty good. This is from paragraph B, maybe paragraph C. Let's find the last one, just so that we can see where it ends. We want habitat destruction, maybe agriculture, not native, baby tortoises. Looking for the nouns. So we'll skip a few lines. It's going to be around here, C or the end of B, and there's habitat destruction over there. Great. So that just tells me we're only looking at paragraph B. Let's find a few of the other things. Whaling ships, produce. See, there's no noun in here, in this clause here. And there's an answer there, so I'm going to want to choose something there. So maybe we'll look for produce, but they can paraphrase produce. So let's leave it later. And islands maybe, and hunted is also a good one. Let's look for hunted, I think. But let's see, maybe we can find islands. Hunted and... So whaling ships, hunted islands. Whaling ships. Taken might be hunted. There's islands. There is hunted. Alright, great. Okay, we've got lots. We can start. Oh, no, we can't. First, what are you going to do? Please look at the kinds of words that you're looking for. This was actually the most important step for this. Sometimes it doesn't help you, but in this test, it was super important. You're going to look for noun, verb, adjective, but you're also going to ask what kind of word is it. Ships used by. Now, what uses ships? People use ships. So you're looking for something that's a kind of a person. Also, you must ask, so that's going to be a noun. Also, you must ask single, plural, countable, uncountable. It's not 100% certain, but the ships is plural. So I don't think the ships are going to be used by one person. I think this is going to be a plural noun. It can be uncountable, but most likely plural because people are countable. Right. Numbers taken onto whaling ships. They were kept for what? So this is just going to be a noun, but it's not going to be singular. I'm just going to put it either plural or uncountable. And also used to produce, again, produce something, a noun. They don't say produce so we know that it's not a singular countable. It can be plural or uncountable again. Hunted by, again, this is who hunts. People hunt, but animals also hunt. So it will be a noun, and then again, probably plural. I don't think it will be uncountable because people and animals are countable. This is a big clue here. Various, we know we're looking for a noun. This is like an adjective. We want a noun over here, but after various, it's like after the word many. After many, plural. After various, plural. You can't say many dog. You must say many dogs. So here we want a plural noun. And these things fed on the tortoises. And the tortoises, there, please notice this. That means that this noun belongs to the tortoises. This is plural. This will be a noun, but it could be plural. It might be uncountable, but I don't think so. These things that belonged to the tortoises. Let's just put that. Alright, so you've done this quick examination. It really helps you, especially in this test. Let's go there. 17th century, small numbers of tortoises were taken onto ships used by some kind of a person. Let's find small numbers. Can you see small numbers? We're over there. That means small numbers on board for food. But this IELTS have tried to trick you here because you're going to see ships there. So many students will choose this word whaling. Let's examine this sentence. It's a very important sentence. Please notice the but. Small numbers, but the whaling ships saw this grow. Grow exponentially means then big numbers. So this but is very important here. The pirates took small numbers, but the whaling ships took big numbers. So many students will choose this because they saw the word ships there. IELTS tried to trick you there. But again, this is an adjective and we are looking for nouns. So you don't need to let IELTS trick you if you are checking noun, adjective, verb. We're looking for plural noun. And if you don't let them trick you there, then you can see on this side the small numbers. This means ships. That's the reference to ships. Who took small numbers onto their ships? The pirates. Even if you don't know what a pirate is, you can see it's a plural noun. Great. 1790s, very large numbers taken onto whaling ships. So if you wrote whaling over here and then you saw this, then you must go back and delete because they won't put the answer in the next question. This shows you that whaling was not the answer for number 8. So the large numbers were taken onto the whaling ships. They were kept for something and also used to produce something. There's not much here. We know where whaling ships is. I think we should try and find that because there's nothing else there. Kept, maybe. So they were taken onto the whaling ships. There's our large numbers. It grew exponentially. It grew a lot. This is blah, 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 blah. The tortoises were taken onto these ships. So this ships is this ships actually. To act as food supplies during the ocean voyage journey. Sometimes their bodies were processed. There's produced. That's what I was looking for. Into high-grade oil. Now we have a problem. We're only allowed one word. We have food supplies and we have high-grade oil. I think this one is quite easy. I always tell my students when you have an adjective noun and you're only allowed one word, you must choose the noun. So this one is not a problem. It turns out that's an uncountable noun, and that's fine. Processed, produce, oil is okay. The next one is a problem. This one, number 9. What we've got here is food supplies. I always tell students, delete this, keep the noun. And that rule holds 99% of the time. IELTS, in their answers to this test, they say that food is the answer, you must delete supplies. This is wrong. The answer can be food, kept for food and also used to produce oil, or the answer can be supplies, kept for supplies and also used to produce oil. Both of these would be correct. So IELTS made a mistake there. I'm just going to keep both of them in because both of them are correct. Right, hunted by something on the islands. We want people or animals. We want a plural noun. There's hunted. This is a common thing. IELTS is testing, do you know who they is or who they are? It's the reference pronoun. IELTS likes to test that you can go back and understand. It could be this, these, it, those, or they. So who are they? You need to go back. We know we're looking for a plural noun because this is animals or people, and there's our plural noun. Quite easy. Settlers are the people. The settlers came to the islands and they hunted. Various establishment. The habitat was destroyed for the establishment of agriculture, and habitat destruction. Habitat was destroyed by various plural noun, which were not native to the islands, which also fed on the tortoises, and the tortoises something. Various, we want plural nouns. We know the sentence. There's the sentence. Now, we're looking for plural nouns, and there's a lot. In this, there's a lot of plural countable nouns. But this is the various. What is the word for all of those? And it's just that word over there. That's another plural noun. So you can't say various goats because they mention various examples. How do you know one is more important than the other? This is the group word for this group. So species, plural countable, plural noun, no problem. We know various because they gave various examples. Species, very important word for IELTS on your vocabulary list. And these species fed on the tortoises, and the tortoises something, again plural, maybe uncountable. Where's the word for fed? This. Please know this word. It means you need to know predator and prey. A lion eats a cow. The lion is the predator. The cow is the prey. But you can use it as a verb. The lion preys on the cow. So this means kill and eat by an animal. So what did they eat? There's our plural noun again. They ate the eggs. Fed on the tortoises and, they ate the eggs and the young tortoises. So all IELTS did is they took this, they put it before, they put the eggs afterwards. They switched it around. They do that a lot. All right. It wasn't so easy because there were lots of tricks, but the key to this was to know how many plurals, plural countable. All plural countable, that was uncountable, and if you chose food, that was uncountable. You needed to see there was no single nouns that you were looking for. You were looking for plural nouns or uncountable nouns. Right, we can do that quite quickly. Now let's look at matching headings. Super fun. Okay, let's take a look at these matching headings. Now, the first thing that you're going to do, that you really should do, is to try and find paragraph B's heading. That's one of the reasons we did these first, is because it gives you some clues as to what the topic of that paragraph is, what's important in that paragraph. So you should really look at this. This is what they say is a heading for that paragraph, the decline of the tortoise. Notice that word, decline is something negative, it means going down. So this paragraph is all about the things that affected the tortoises negatively. If we look at our headings, let's see if we can find something that is similar to that heading. The importance of getting timing right, no. Young meets old, no. Developments to the disadvantage of the tortoises, and there you go. Definitely, I would say it's that. A bigger idea, no. Populate, no. Operation, planning, tortoises, conservation project, no. So very quickly you should be able to find that paragraph B is heading number 3. Again, that's why we did those ones first. Right, then we can start. Now this, it's a typical introduction paragraph, but the thing about this paragraph that I want you to notice is that it's actually 3 mini paragraphs, 3 sub-paragraphs. There are 3 topics here. The first one describes the geography. The second part of this paragraph describes the arrival of these tortoises, and the third part of them describes how they were successful on this island. So this happens sometimes. It's not very common, but what happens is that a paragraph actually has 3 topics, and IELTS then just chooses one, and students can find that very confusing. So you should learn to recognize when they're talking about a different topic inside a paragraph. I would probably actually make this bit green as well. It's still talking about the environment, the geography. So it's probably something like that. So now what we need to do is to find a heading that describes one of these. Does it describe the geography of the islands? Does it describe the arrival of the tortoises? Or does it describe the success that they had on these islands? Timing right, young meets old, no. Planning a big idea, no. And that's the arrival, they populate. Carefully planned operation, no. Looking for a home for the tortoises, I'll come back to that. Conservation project, no. The tortoises weren't looking for a home, other people were looking for a home. Because of that preposition. If it was the tortoises were looking for a home, then we wouldn't have that. Somebody was looking for a home for them. So it turns out that it's this one, and it's this purple part over here. This word means populate. This word means populate. And even that is similar. So again, IELTS could have made 3 different headings here. They could have made a heading about the geography, about the islands, about these words, there's repetition there, or about how they were successful, and they chose this one. Actually, we will see the same thing again in paragraph F. So we're going to go for paragraph A, we're going to go with 5. Right, now these two are smaller paragraphs. Often students think the smaller paragraphs are easier, but I think IELTS knows that, and that's why they often make them difficult. So we're talking about something that happens today, so this is in the past, this is now. Work began on a tortoise breeding center. This is just support information. We don't care where it is, really. Protect the island's tortoise. Okay, obviously that's why they would have a center, to protect the tortoise. And then they mention the center again. So immediately I see a bit of repetition there. They mention this, let's put the whole thing, this center. So ideally I would like to see something about the center there, but I don't really see anything about the center or the program. So I go back, look at it a little bit more, just close your eyes and ask yourself, what are they saying? What is the meaning of this paragraph? To introduce this center, this program, and I think we needed to actually highlight that over there. That was very important. It's not about the center, it's about the fact that the center started. That's what this paragraph is. And that will be the start of the conservation project. A slightly more difficult one. Right, with this next paragraph, I wanted you to see that over there. By now you should be starting to notice those and realize how important they are, the but and the however. So what but what? That's what we're going to ask. You can't reintroduce them into the wild until they're 5 years old. But if you wait too long, they become too big. So at 5 years old, size and weight sufficient. But wait too long, too large. And that was the whole thing that this paragraph was trying to do. It's a contrast paragraph. They need to be 5 years old, and then you can move them because they're big enough. But if you wait too long, they eventually become too big. There is this, but you won't really know what that means. It's pretty advanced English. This actually means it's urgent. So the answer was this. It's difficult to see. You needed to understand that what this but is talking about is that there's a time limit. You must wait until they're 5, but if you wait too long. So they mentioned time twice here, and then they also mentioned time with this urgent pressing word. Quite a difficult one. You could probably skip that. Hopefully the but would have helped you. Also, at this point now, we've done some easy ones. Look at the others and you won't see anything that really fits. Young meets old, no. Bigger idea, no. Operation, no. And looking for a home, no. It's all about the timing. that paragraph. I think if you skipped that one and came back to it later, that would be fine. Right, paragraph E. Again, we've got another but. So what but what? You need to try and find that. It's very complicated. Firstly, they were in small numbers. But then this is a big subject. That is all the subject of the sentence. There's the verb in a small. We don't need all of this. Is just preposition phrases. Where they gathered is not important. Why did they gather? There should be more ambitious. So this whole paragraph again, it's a contrast paragraph. In the beginning, they carried small numbers of tortoises, but then these guys wanted to plan, let's say, to work out a more ambitious. Ambitious means they want to go bigger. They want to do more. Then this is just they've added it on. It's just that they're talking about a helicopter. And there's your answer over there. This is the more ambitious. So the but gave you small numbers, but bigger plan, bigger idea, bigger numbers. So again, a contrast paragraph, and that means E is number 4. Right, then this big paragraph, what they've done again is it's 2 sub-paragraphs. All of this is about equipment, and then all of this is about preparation. If you saw that, then it became quite easier, because this second part gave you this word over here. And this all spoke about equipment. So when I go to the headings, I'm going to look for a heading that's either about equipment or a heading that's about preparation, because those are the 2 subtopics for this paragraph. Young meets old, no. Home for the islands, tortoises. I can see why some students will choose number 7, but they're not looking for a home. They're preparing for this operation. The equipment is also part of the preparations. So prepare and plan are kind of synonyms. Then the final one, it's actually a very strange paragraph. We've only got 2 options left. Students often think looking for a home, but they're not looking for a home. They've already in their home. They're exploring their home, so it's different. The whole thing about this paragraph, it's a strange paragraph. I don't think you should worry about it too much. There's a baby and a big one, a tiny one and a giant. And who's them? It's these 2. So they're talking about these 2, the baby and the old one, at the same time in this paragraph. Strange paragraph, but then if we have managed to delete the others, then we know that young meets old is that. All right. Not an easy matching headings, but matching headings are never easy. I think 4 or 5 out of 8 there were quite doable. What did we learn from this? Notice that sometimes paragraphs have more than one topic. You need to divide the paragraph into those 3 for 2 topics and look for a heading for each one, because IELTS will only choose one. Same thing over here. The other thing to notice is that both of these, D and E, were but paragraphs, contrast paragraphs. And then, of course, most importantly, if you had done the gap fill first, then you would have been able to find B relatively quickly. Even if you didn't do the gap fill, you should have noticed that IELTS gave the heading there, so it needed to be something like that. Right, that's the end of that. Let's move on to another reading.